everyone, my name is Leanne and today I'm going to be telling you about some of my anticipated Irish releases for 2024. Welcome, the Irish Readathon is here. If you don't know what I'm on about, if you don't know what the Irish Readathon is, where have you been? Are you new? Welcome. But I've literally been banging on about this for weeks, like you should know what this is by now. If you don't, all of the information will be linked down below, but essentially every March, myself and my co-hosts dedicate our reading to reading Irish books. There's whole playlists down below, my co-hosts are linked down below, there's a Discord server if you want to join in the chat. But I thought today I could tell you about some of the upcoming Irish releases that are coming in 2024. I have 14 books to talk to you about. Some of them I've already mentioned in my other video that I did with like loads of anticipated releases for 2024, but specifically today we're going to talk about the Irish ones. I'm just going to talk about these in the order I've got them written down, but I will put the publication dates somewhere on screen. Let's start with the one that lots of people are talking about. There's a new Sally Rooney coming. So Intermezzo is publishing in September. It's a slightly confusing title. I'm sure lots of people had to Google what Intermezzo was. I've only very briefly read the description for this one, but I think it's about two brothers and the grief they experience after their father's death. So it's about men. Will there be a communist brunette girl with a fringe? Maybe there will be at some point. Has there been a Sally Rooney book that I have loved as much as I loved Normal People? No. Will there ever be? Probably not. Am I still going to read Intermezzo? Obviously, yes. Sarah Crossan has not one, but two new books coming. The first of those is Hey Zoey, which I'm very excited for. This is a book that is about like AI and sex robots, and long story short, I had this very niche interest in the history of sex robots. It's a long story, okay? But it's a topic that I find really interesting. So I'm very excited to see what Sarah Crossan does with it. It sounds very different to anything that she's written before. And her other new book, Where the Heart Should Be, sounds really different to that. So she has two like quite different books coming up. I'm very excited about it. This one is set in Ireland in 1846 and it follows the life of a scullery maid. I think it's going to deal with kind of class divides and being Irish versus Anglo-Irish and those kinds of topics. But don't quote me on that because I'm just going off memory here. Catherine Prasivka has a new book coming out. She wrote None of This Is Serious, which was our group read for the Irish Readathon last year. Now, when I read the blurb for this, my jaw dropped. I feel like this is the book that I have needed for a long time. I don't know if me and the author are like a very similar age, but a lot of what she is going to discuss and cover in this book is something that I have a lot of feelings and experience around, and I'm just really excited for there to be a book that properly deals with this subject. It's basically about being exposed to the internet at a very young age. Being exposed to online chat rooms at a young age, interacting with strangers on the internet, having online friends that don't use their real names, coming to understand a lot of things about sexual exploration from the internet, and growing up in this world where kind of documenting your experiences is the norm. I actually haven't pre-ordered this one yet, and now just talking about it, I'm like, I just need to pre-order it. Like, I feel like this might be my favorite book of the whole year, and I've not read a single word from it yet. My favorite mistake is the new Marian Keys book that is coming out. I don't know anything about the plot of this one, but it's the new Marian Keys, so I'm going to read it. It will be coming out in hardback, so I will probably wait for the paperback to come out because I already have a few Marian Keys books on my shelves that I can get to reading first. But when it comes out in paperback, I will be picking up The Favorite Mistake. But for the purpose of this, you probably want to read it in hardback. So now you know what's happening. The Amendments by Niamh Mulvey is a book that so many of us in the Irish bookish community are so excited for. This is a book about 3 generations of Irish women, and it particularly looks at the experiences of being a woman in these various time periods in Irish society, with a particular focus on pregnancy, motherhood, etc., which is always a very fascinating topic in an Irish context. Bodies by Christine Ann Foley is a book that sounds right up my street. It looks at love and death and sex, and it is described as the It Girl book of the year. So obviously I'm gonna read that. I think this is a book that is about awful awful relationships. So I want to read about it. Adiba Jagar has a couple of books coming out this year. There is Rani Chowdhury Must Die, and also Four Eves and a Funeral, which she has co-written. She's just an auto-read author for me. I love her young adult books. I love the position they occupy within the canon of Irish young adult fiction. And I think it's really important how she showcases the experiences of Muslim teenagers in Ireland and also queer teenagers in Ireland, and the intersection when you are both those things. The Dagger and the Flame by Catherine Doyle. This is a kiss or kill romantasy novel. I'm going to be reading an early version of this very soon because it's a book that I am working on in my professional life. Very excited to read this one and be working on it. And finally, The Grass Ceiling, which is a book about being an Irish sportswoman. I love nonfiction that is about kind of women's issues, and I also really love nonfiction books that are about sport. So this is kind of the perfect intersection for me. So there we have it. They are some of my anticipated Irish releases for the year. This is certainly not an extensive list of all of the Irish books that are coming out this year. These are just the ones that have really piqued my own personal reading interests. Do you have any anticipated Irish releases that are coming out this year? Do leave me a comment down below and let me know what you are excited for. If you are participating in the Irish Readathon at the minute, feel free to let me know what you're reading. There are so many great books coming out. Like, how am I going to read them all? That is it for me today. I hope you're doing well, and I will speak to you in my next video.